Hello there, Patriots, viewers, friends, and family. Thank you again for joining us at Sergeant Troy's for another video. In a previous video, we talked about some of the basic tenets of why we do what we do. We're going to be discussing a bug out bag today. Just as a quick refresher, I want you to understand that the categories that we're going to cover today will be personal defense, medical, fire, shelter, water, food, signaling, and navigation, preferably in that order. I will be discussing rule number 1, which is always take care of number 1, rule number 2, which is always to have a backup for your backup, and we'll be always considering the rule of 3s. Go back to that previous video and you'll understand where we're coming from. Okay, so now we're going to open up this bag. To remind you, basically just said go through the shop, take whatever you want off the shelf, build us a bug out bag. I did that. We weighed it just for my own personal curiosity. We got less than 20 pounds. So as I go through, I'm going to take the stuff that's in the bag, out of the bag, and I'm going to try to set them out according to the categories that we have. So as you see, this is the bag that I chose because frankly, it was simple and easy and it was quick. This is the Army ACU bag. It's a used bag. Zippers opens up. It has a main compartment. It also has another compartment under here, and then it has some straps. There's also other ways that you can attach different pieces as we go. The back has got pretty solid straps on it. We have an open pocket here, and we may discuss the bag at a later date. But I just want to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. This is a container to put all of our stuff in. Let's start with the outside of the bag. As you can see, what I have here is a whoopee. Some people call this their snivel gear. All this is a poncho liner. A poncho liner is really important stuff. This is going to come under our shelter. This is going to give us some insulation from the weather that's around us. I grabbed a 2-quart canteen. This is going to fit our water category. Pulled out a couple of training meals. Always make sure that you're paying attention to your calories whenever you start collecting food up, okay guys? All-weather pen, that's going to be important, and that'll be under the category of signaling or communication. From here, we're going to pop this open, and this is a lot of stuff, guys. When I start pulling this out, you're going to be like, no way you got all that in there. Socks, okay, because that's going to be part of your sheltering. Man, change your socks. Take care of your feet. You do not want to be in a situation where you are not mobile because your feet have failed you. I've got a watch cap. This one happens to be wool. You lose the majority of your heat through your head, so this will also go under shelter. I also have a cloth. This is 100% cotton. That's important. It's just a big cloth, guys. We're going to use this for a lot of things, and we'll talk about each of these pieces as we go, but this is just a neck scarf, 100% cotton. Here's a pair of gloves, wool gloves. I also have some leather gloves. So these are liners, and this is the leather gloves. These can be used in conjunction with each other, or they can be used separately. You need to protect your hands. Whenever you're in an environment where you're around broken metal or glass, concrete, rebar, you're out in the woods, every scratch that you get is a potential for an infection. Protect your hands. We have some pepper spray here. This will be under defense. I picked the bright color because if you're in a situation where you have to use this for defense, you really do want the bad guy to know what's about to happen. You're putting the bad guy on notice to let him know that you are fully prepared to protect yourself, your family, your friends, those that are around you, and he might be better off finding an easier target. So in here is a hammock. This hammock is for shelter. It'll get you up off the ground if you're in a situation where you have trees, but it can also be used for other things. We'll talk about that, but right now I'm going to put this under sheltering and maybe tools. I have a 100 mile-an-hour tape, which is similar to what you guys might consider as duct tape. Great for a multitude of uses. This is definitely going to come under tools. I also have a small canteen. If you notice, it's metal. The reason I chose a metal one is because whenever we get into water, because that's one of our categories, we need a way to purify our water. If it's a metal container, we can boil the water that's in this and we can make it biologically sterile. Here's another 100% cloth. I chose red for this one is because this can also be used for signaling. Since signaling is one of our categories, I think something that's bright is a good idea. If you're trying to get attention, you want to have some things that are not tactical. You want to make sure that anyone that's looking for you can find you. Red's a good color, orange, bright green, things that are not common in nature. That's the color you're looking for. So now we have a notebook. Notebooks are really important because you need to be able to indicate where you are, the circumstances that got you where you are, just random thoughts. If you need to leave a note because you've gone somewhere or you've left an area, searchers are coming. They find an old campsite of yours and you've left a note behind. At least they know which direction you're going. I'm adding this with the all-weather pen. This happens to be right in the rain. Good products. You can use them wet or dry. I think it's important that they last through the weather because it may be several days or maybe even weeks before someone can get this note. So I'm going to put this under the category of maybe communication or signaling. Here's a little multi-use item. It has a whistle, it has a flashlight, it has a compass, it has a thermometer on it. This is one of those multi-use pieces that I think it's a get buy. I always say that no matter what you have in your kit, you can always upgrade it as your money allows. This is a great place to start, especially if you're trying to use a smaller kit. This bag is huge. But if you want to break this down to a smaller bag, you can easily take this and put it in a pocket. You can put this in a waist bag, and you still have several different things. I'm going to call this under signaling, but it will help in lots of areas, and we'll get into this at a later date. Man, hygiene. So these are like baby wipes. If you're going to be out in the wilderness for any length of time, you really need to keep your hygiene up. Infection starts whenever the skin starts to break down. The skin is the largest organ of the body, and once it fails, it allows the outside world into your inside world. You don't want that. So try to keep yourself clean. This is an easy, simple way to do it. If you have an injury, a lot of times you need to clean that injury up so you can keep an eye on it. This is a way to do that. If you can't take a shower, you can sure take these and clean your feet. You can clean anything that you know gets constant bodily contact. All right, let's see what else we have in here. Knife. Man, without a knife, there's not much you can do in the wilderness. I always stress carry things in a bug out bag that you cannot create in the wild. You cannot make a knife easily in the wild. So I'm going to put this in the tools category. We have a saw. Okay, so this is made by Opinel. I prefer saws to machetes and axes because I feel like I can give this to someone that may not have the skill set for an axe or a machete, and they can use this and they don't have to worry about any kind of personal injury. You're going to use this for shelter building. You're going to use this for possibly snares. Okay, so what else do we have in here? Looks like we have a survival poncho. This is similar to the Mylar bags. We're trying to keep weight down. You need to know that the product that you carry is durable. This is going to go under the shelter category. Yes, they rip. Yes, they tear. But I've got some duct tape. I have some ways to make repairs if I need to. Matches. These are UCO matches. These are stormproof matches. That's going to be important because I think fire is probably one of the most fundamental needs in any situation. The reason I say that is that it helps purify water. It helps to cook food. It gives you a moral boost, a mental boost. It can be used for signaling. I don't know why anybody would want to practice bushcraft skills in an emergency situation unless you want to do that to improve on that skill. And they're so light. Carry a couple boxes of them. I always recommend the kind that are strike anywhere matches. They're getting more and more difficult to find, but these are stormproof matches, also known as lifeboat matches. When you light one of these up, it's going to last for a good minute. It's a hot fire, and that's what you're going to need if your tinder is damp. Matches, fire building. We also have a ferro rod, which is a good backup. Another way to build a fire. Take some time to learn how these work. They work in conjunction with the other tools that you have. It's a great idea to have carbon knives, carbon saw blades. These things work really well to throw great sparks. We have a small whistle, just like a police whistle. Great for signaling, great for communication. It also works really well to keep wildlife at bay. Whistles are great. You really need to have a whistle. I'm putting that under signaling. Paracord. Everybody talks about paracord. Paracord is one of those things that can be used for millions of uses. I picked a lime green because, again, we're trying to make sure that we have the ability to signal. If I build a structure with lime green parachute cord, it's going to meet the requirements of a shelter, but it's also going to be obvious that it's not the same as nature. Again, we have the duct tape. This is simple duct tape. This is a flat pack. This is really important because of space. You're also limited on how much you can carry, but you can have multiples of these. This is great for repairs. It can be used for first aid, medical. It can be used for sheltering. Got to have duct tape. And here is a signal mirror. Basically, a signal mirror is a way to communicate with other people. It uses the sun to reflect. The flash from this will travel further than you can in a day. You need to have multiple ways to signal. So this is a great idea. Why else do I need a mirror? If I get injured or hurt and I'm alone and I need to see an injury that's maybe behind me, I need to be able to see that. I need to get better eyes on this thing. I'm going to put this under signaling as well. So now we have some compasses. Now, compass is important for navigation. If you don't know how to use a compass, probably want to get with someone to teach you how to use a compass. If you don't know how to use it, it's just dead weight. I have several styles here, from very, very inexpensive to U.S. military grade. I bring these to you because if you have gone into an area and you need to get out of an area, you need to make sure that you're walking in a straight line. You want to combine this with a map of your local area, but you really do need to have a compass on you. It's part of your navigation. If you're going to navigate cross country, I use what's called ranger beads or pace beads. The compass will give you direction and pace beads will give you distance. This combined with a wristwatch, which gives you time, this gives you distance, this gives you direction. When we talked about the parachute cord before, parachute cord in general is a great idea. I also offered a couple other options. This is a little bit thinner. This is 275 pound test. It's 100 feet. This is 550. They also make a 750. What you need to know about this is that it has an outer casing, and inside of that inner casing are multiple strands of smaller threads. Combined, they are able to have so much working weight. I really think that 100 feet is probably the minimum. You may want to use this for building a heavy-duty shelter. You may want to use this type for maybe an overnight shelter, or you may want to use this for trapping or fishing or food gathering. Another way to do it is everybody has seen these little parachute bracelets. You know what? They're great. You can carry quite a bit. So you can always have parachute cord. You need parachute cord. I'm going to put that probably under sheltering mostly. We're almost to the bottom of the bag. So we talked about water. We haven't really talked about the difference between filtration and purification yet, but we'll do that. We do have a container that we can boil water in. We can also use water tablets, which are really quick and easy. Sometimes you just need to get from point A to point B and you don't need to stop for a fire. If it's 100 degrees outside, you do not want to be boiling water. In addition to that, I have a Sawyer. It's a micro squeeze. Basically, what this is a filter. You can take dirty water, turn it into clean water. So you may start with a filter. You may have a backup for that will be your pills, and your backup is to be able to boil the water to make it biologically safe to drink. It looks like the last thing we have in here is a flashlight. This one was kind of neat. I liked it. I like this one because it's a white light, Nebo brand. First click is a bright light, then a dim light, and the third one is an SOS or strobe. Really good for signaling. That's going to be important. But it also has an option of a red laser. You won't be able to see that on camera maybe, but the reason that you want a laser is because you can sweep the horizon with a laser. Don't point this thing in your face. But as you can see, whenever I come off of a mirror, I can reflect that, but I have other things that I can use this for. So it's used for communication. In the middle of the night, you need to be able to see what you're doing. In a medical situation, you want to make sure that you can open the clothing so you get access to the wound so you can treat the wound. You just need a really good flashlight. They don't need to be crazy expensive, but they do need to be pretty durable. And it looks like that's everything that we have in our bag. We've covered the vast majority of things. Are there improvements? Absolutely. Remember, we did this quickly. Grab a few things off the counter. You can take any of these things and change them around to meet your expectations, whatever the requirements are that you have, and we can make improvements along the way. All right, guys, we've talked about our bug out bag. Go back to our series. We talked about the philosophy of our bag. As we continue to move forward, we may discuss each piece individually, but I want you to really kind of grasp why we choose the pieces of gear that we choose, and so that you can customize your bag to what you need. Please subscribe, hit that bell notification, hit that like, comment, let us know what you think about our series, and we will continue bringing you the best that we can.